Yo, what is up, folks? It's your boy Sports PSP. Welcome to the Sports PSP podcast. As you all know, folks, it's a podcast in which your boy Sports PSP discusses things surrounding sports and everything else in general. Hope everyone's enjoying a fantastic, wonderful evening, Saturday Eve. Man, we got to get into some stuff, folks. We really got to get into some stuff, folks, right now. And today's episode, the name of the title is Back to Reality. We're about a month away of going back to school, but we're also a month away from football, NFL football, and less than a month away, of course, we are talking about college football. And then also less than a month, we're going to talk about Undisputed, because we all know, folks, Shannon Sharpe is no longer the co-host on Skipping on Undisputed anymore. The news broke out. According to Skip Bayless himself, this is really big news for Undisputed. Rapper Lil Wayne will be on Undisputed. He will now, according to Skip Bayless, he will have a weekly segment on the show each Friday. Skip Bayless, this is what he said. I'm reading an article here from the New York Post by Ryan Glaspiegel. Skip Bayless said, "My brother Wayne is at least the most into the relaunch as I am. He is heart and soul into the relaunch. If he's hot, he's rolling. Who knows? Maybe we'll keep him for a segment if he has the time that you can look forward to. He is so deep when it comes to sports. He doesn't yell or scream. But he does get emotional. And you hang on his every word because trust me, he has through every single word. I like to think that I see things and say things that others don't. Wayne is my match. That's why I love him so much. That's why we text so much about sports. We're kindred spirits, but we do see things differently, but very deeply. And it also, according to the Post, Andrew Marchand reported last month that Bayless and Richard Sherman have had talks about the Super Bowl champion potentially joining the show. While Bayless and Sherman once had a fractious debate on ESPN's First Take, the report said that the incident was water under the bridge. So, what are my thoughts, folks, that Lil Wayne is going to be joining Skip Bayless's Undisputed? I think this is a huge step for Undisputed Skip Bayless. But bottom line, in conclusion, I don't think Skip Bayless is going to have a hard time continuing on with Undisputed, folks. He'll never get what he once had with Shannon Sharpe. Yes, of course, Lil Wayne. We all know how Lil Wayne. The reason why Skip decided to bring Lil Wayne onto the show because Lil Wayne and Skip have a kinship, have a friendship, going back to Skip's old days on ESPN. And I think that Wayne, with his platform, who he is, maybe he'll definitely excite the fan base. But bottom line, in conclusion, Skip Bayless will not have what he once had in Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe, it's been reported, him and Stephen A. Smith have said they want to work together on ESPN. That's a big fact. That's what we know for a fact. Stephen A. Smith has no problem with Shannon Sharpe going on ESPN and joining him on First Take. All I know for sure is this, folks. Even if Shannon Sharpe, no matter where he goes, he's going to be a hot commodity because anybody would love to have Shannon Sharpe. He's smart, he's intelligent, he's wise, he's sophisticated, he dresses well, he has personality, he has charisma, he has a huge fan base, and he's been around the media game, folks. And we all know Club Shay Shay, his podcast has been popping. And he's had a lot of guests on his show, from Steve Harvey, Snoop Dogg, Cedric the Entertainer, Michael Blackson, Jay Farrow, countless guests who have come on Club Shay Shay. One thing we absolutely know for a fact, Shannon Sharp is going to be just fine. Shannon Sharp, no matter where he goes, whether ESPN, FanDuel, any other opportunity that's out there for him, he will be absolutely just fine because he has that skill set. And I think this is going to hurt Skip Bayless. I do think adding Lil Wayne onto the set is good for them, but at the same time, it is kind of expected because of Skip and Lil Wayne's relationship and the fact that Lil Wayne has been on sports debate shows. So I think this is Skip's way of staying relevant. And I don't think any journalist or sports personality wants to deal with Skip Bayless because they've seen what type of person Skip Bayless is. We saw Skip Bayless, I think a month or a couple of months ago, him begging for Charles Barkley to come on the show. And we all know how Charles Barkley feels about Skip Bayless, despises Skip Bayless. Says he wants to get into a fight with Skip Bayless. Despises the man. We all know Troy Aikman, who now works on ESPN, who used to work on Fox Sports, despises Skip Bayless. Nobody at this point, whether a sports journalist, columnist, at this point wants to deal with Skip Bayless because he's going to have final say when it comes to the show Undisputed. Even though Richard Sherman and Skip Bayless, it's great for TV because we all remember the debate, the fight, the situation they had on 2013 on ESPN when Richard Sherman said, "In my 24 years in life, I'm better in life than you." And yes, Richard Sherman would easily school Skip Bayless when it comes to football. Now, basketball, I don't know about Richard Sherman in terms of his basketball takes. So we got to wait towards there. But football, yeah. Then there were other reports about LaShawn McCoy joining Undisputed. I don't see that. I mean, LaShawn McCoy, no disrespect, was a very good football player during his time with the Philadelphia Eagles and to a lesser extent the Buffalo Bills. Ain't no way in hell he should be joining Undisputed because he doesn't have that personality or skill set. I'm sorry. Of all of them on Speak, outside of Emmanuel Acho, he may be the worst. His sports takes are just ridiculous. I think Joy Taylor is far better. Far better. There's Joy Taylor and there's LaShawn McCoy. That's how I look at it with Joy Taylor and LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn McCoy, when it comes to his takes, are trash. Period. End of story. They are just trash. Not that good. Not that good whatsoever. They are not good. They're just flat out trash. There's nothing interesting about LaShawn McCoy, period. And Emmanuel Acho is not even that good as well. The only person who's carrying their weight on Speak is Joy Taylor. Joy Taylor is personality. Joy Taylor is familiar Skip Bayless because before she went on Speak and before she was on The Herd with Colin Cowherd, she was the moderator on Undisputed with Skip and Shannon. So, and I think Joy Taylor comes well prepared. So, I think she could be the best person for the job. I just Wayne, Wayne every day on a weekly basis. But bottom line, at the end of the day, Skip Bayless is plummeting right now. He is plummeting right now. What he once had with Shannon Sharp will no longer be there. I don't believe Skip Bayless will be the same. As for Shannon, on the other hand, he will be just fine. Whether if it's ESPN joining First Take with Stephen A. Smith, and I don't agree with that. I think Shannon Sharp is capable enough to have his own show, to have his own podcast. He doesn't need to work with Stephen A. Smith because how would Stephen A. Smith handle Shannon Sharp? Football takes, I think Shannon Sharp would win. Basketball would be very intriguing because even though Stephen A. Smith respects LeBron James, he does not think LeBron James is the greatest player of all time. He still thinks, just like I do, Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. Shannon, on the other hand, we know how he feels about LeBron James. He thinks LeBron James is the greatest of all time, like several people that I know do. I also think it's going to be interesting to what they have to say regarding other NBA news, other sports news, and other things like that. But bottom line, folks, Skip Bayless, he has nobody to blame but himself for Shannon Sharpe's departure of Undisputed because of what he accused Shannon Sharpe of being jealous of Tom Brady. When Shannon Sharpe has been an 8-time Pro Bowler, one of the greatest tight ends who have ever played the game, a 3-time Super Bowl champion, and also Damar Hamlin's tweet, in which Shannon Sharpe, a day after what happened to Damar Hamlin, he went on Undisputed, gave his monologue, and when he talked about Skip and said that Skip, hopefully he'll take down the tweet, Skip interrupted his monologue and said, "Time out. I'm not going to take down the tweet because I stand by what I said." And there have been people who've called out Skip Bayless and thought it was BS, including and particularly Michael Strahan. So Skip Bayless, I'm sorry. What he once had, it'll never be the same. Only reason why he brought in Wayne, because of Wayne's personality, because of what Wayne could do as far as fans and ratings, and of course, their relationship. But in the end, I don't think Skip Bayless will ever be the same. And he doesn't realize how good he got it once he had Shannon and with Stephen A. Smith. But anyway, let me add someone into the panel. I got my boy Dev. Dev, man, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right, man. What's your thoughts about Skip Bayless bringing on Wayne every Friday on Undisputed?
Wait, so how's it gonna go? I haven't really got any update on it. I haven't really been following up with the news.
I thought you would know by now, but Skip Bayless, he went on his show and he said that Bayless revealed on his podcast on Thursday that his friend rapper Lil Wayne will have a weekly segment on the show each Friday. So every
Got you. Okay,
Friday
okay.
he will have a weekly segment on the show. So what are your thoughts about
On,
that?
on Undisputed,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be interesting because now it's like because Undisputed been off the air for a minute, and and now he's got to mix it up now because Shannon Sharp's right there. He doesn't really have a full-time partner, so I'm guessing it's something different because we never seen like a rapper or a music artist have like a segment. Lil Wayne knows this based off of this guest appearance. Lil Wayne knows more than a casual. I know he's a big Packers fan, and he likes the Lakers. Likes the Lakers. So I think it'll be interesting to see. It's gonna bring views most definitely because people will love to see like Lil Wayne's perspective on sports. But I think it's just a bad time for Undisputed because him and Shannon was the show, and them going back and forth, them getting each other takes. Now, the season about to come up, and it's still no one else signed, so it's kind of like you got to do something.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while. I mean, almost 2 months when Skip Bayless announced that Undisputed would be back on the 27th or the 28th of August. So that's been a long time. If Skip Bayless found somebody else to replace Shannon Sharpe, he probably would have started the show a hell of a lot sooner than later. Plus, there's also been reports about Richard Sherman joining Undisputed.
I don't see that. I'm not gonna lie,
Why is that?
because the beef they had in the past, especially like back in the first take, like even though it was a couple years ago.
Right. Although it was reported it was water underneath the bridge, but I
Probably
just
yeah.
don't see that. And plus the reports about LaShawn McCoy joining Undisputed. I think when it comes to his football or sports takes, he's just trash.
So he's gonna leave Iron Athlete.
I mean he is that bad when it comes to I Am Athlete or Speak, he's just that bad. The only one that's really good on Speak is Joy Taylor. I've said that, and I'll continuously say that because I just think Joy Taylor is more well informed. I think Joy Taylor is prepared. I think Joy Taylor knows exactly what she wants to talk about. I mean, Acho and LaShawn McCoy are just trash. They're just bad when it comes to their sports takes and more. So I think Joy Taylor could challenge them, given the fact that she knows Skip Bayless. You know, she was the former moderator on Undisputed before she went on to Herd with Colin Cowherd, and then later on Speak. So I don't know. With Wayne there, yeah, it's definitely going to increase ratings and stuff. But bottom line, Skip will never be the same.
I know, facts.
Yeah. And as for Shannon, I talked about Shannon on if he possibly joins First Take with Stephen A. Smith. I think Shannon should go somewhere else and start his own show.
Honestly, I don't think he needs to go to First Take because First Take, I think because the platform First Take is kind of already working, and like Stephen A. is big enough. Like Stephen A. proven, it's like proven now he doesn't really need another co-star. Really, like he just needs another person there to like talk to because like he is almost like the show. Like his personality shines, and Shannon, I think Shannon can just continue doing Club Shay Shay in the meantime because that brings him. Because that does pretty good, bringing in guests and all that.
It definitely does well. I mean, he's had several guests on the show: Snoop Dogg, Cedric the Entertainer, Chris Tucker, Steve Harvey, Michael Blackson, Jay Farrell. He's got a lot of big time celebrities, and he has a lot of connections for people within that industry. So I think he should continue doing Club Shay Shay. I think he should do his own thing instead of joining First Take and being with Stephen A. Smith. Even though it'd be great though, because of the football, because of how much their hatred for the Dallas Cowboys. And I also think from an NBA standpoint, it'd be great because we all know how much Shannon loves himself some LeBron James. He thinks LeBron is the GOAT. However, Stephen A. Smith is very adamant that Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Mm-hmm. So I do think it's going to be very compelling in that regard. And also with Kyrie Irving too. Because with Stephen A. Smith, as much as he admires and respects about Kyrie Irving, he's continuously said Kyrie Irving just finds an example not to just show up to work. I don't know how Shannon feels about Kyrie, but he thinks a lot of things that Kyrie has said or think are ridiculous. So I don't know regarding that and that alone, but I just think bottom line, Skip Bayless will never have what he once had. That's on FS1 because they made that decision. They want to keep Skip Bayless. They know Skip Bayless is the hot commodity there on Fox Sports 1 outside of Colin Cowherd. And everyone knows when it comes to Undisputed, Skip's going to have final say.
Yeah.
So Skip's going to operate the show however he wants. It just tells you that how he's perceived by his contemporaries within journalists, columnists, people within the media and sports. I just don't see anybody at this point wanting to work with Skip Bayless. That's what I think. All right. But let's move on to some NBA.
Sure.
The Los Angeles Lakers, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, the Lakers star Anthony Davis has agreed to a 3-year, $186 million max extension, tying him to franchise through the 2028 for a total of $270+ million. Also, Clutch Sports CEO Rich Paul tells ESPN Davis lands richest annual extension in NBA history at $62 million. So Dev, what were your thoughts about the contract? How do you feel about the Lakers going forward with Anthony Davis? Do you think he was worthy of the contract?
Well, of course, Anthony Davis is a top 7 player in the NBA, the best defender in the NBA. He's the best player in the Lakers, and it was a good contract. You got him secure, and I like his Lakers team. Now when LeBron does leave or retire, this team still can win games. AD, you still have D'Lo, you still have some young guys I really like that can develop, like in Max Christie, Maxwell Lewis, and Jalen Hood Shafino. You know they're going to play a lot in their rookie year. They got some good upside, so it's a good move by the Lakers that'll keep them competitive, and they can still go on a retool once LeBron is done. So like they're not going to fall off. So I think it's a good move. You secure AD in LA because some people say once LeBron leave, AD leaving. I highly doubt he's going to leave the Lakers. I think he will retire as a Laker and then cement his legacy as one of the best defensive players we've ever seen.
All right. The only concern I have with Anthony Davis is not his game. The problem with AD. Hold up, we got another guest on the panel. Let me see if I could try to get him on. The Casual, what's up, man? How you doing, man?
What's going on,
what's
bro?
up?
What's going on?
Going on, man. We discussing about AD and his new contract. What are your thoughts about the whole AD contract?
Ooh, just throw me into the fire.
You need some context?
No. I mean, 3 years. Was it 262 million? Right.
3 years, $186 million to $270 million plus. And let me read you the rest of the deal, man. Yeah, here. 3-year, $186 million max extension, tying him to franchise through to 2028 for a total of $270 million plus. Clutch Sports CEO Rich Paul tells ESPN Davis lands richest annual extension in NBA history at $62 million. So, what are your thoughts about the contract? Do you think AD was worthy of the money, and how do you see the Lakers moving forward?
Well, I think it would be crazy for the Lakers not to offer him the maximum, seeing as the season he just had defensively, and even offensively. I think underrated, like how great he was around the paint. Um, and he is like excluding the injury riddled years he's had since being a Laker. He has brought a championship to him, and he is recognized as one of the, if not the best defensive player in the league. And he's only what 30, 31?
He's 30 years old.
Oh, 30. So I would like to think that this past season that he just had showed showed that there's life still within having Anthony Davis being the head honcho of the Lakers very soon because LeBron isn't getting any younger. So I think that this was a no-brainer. I like it for him. Now, do I think that long term this is going to pan out? Honestly, no, because given his history, I think his injuries, with how mysterious they are and how frequent it's been popping up, I don't see any reason to believe that he won't have another injury that'll have him, shorten his production per season like pretty soon. But that being said, if you can get 1 to 2 years out of him at a high level defensively, I mean, they got to the Western Conference Finals with that, and the team, to be honest with you, talent wise, was sort of just like scrambled together last minute, and they were able to do that. So I don't see any reason why not.
The concern I have with AD, look, no one is questioning whether AD can't play. Of course he could play. That's never been the problem. The problem with AD is the injuries and the inconsistencies. So the money, I'm not really concerned that much about the money because that's just where the market is going. So I can't knock him for taking the money. The problem is them years. I mean, given the fact that he's 30, and we all know throughout his career he's had durability problems, how long he's going to hold up. Defensively, AD showed you, even though Jared Jackson won Defensive Player of the Year, I still think AD was the best defensive player last season. And especially what he did as far as with the rim protection, what he did particularly in the series against Memphis and Golden State. Denver series, you were up against Jokic. No shame in that. Jokic, in my opinion, is the best player in the NBA. And I just think he's just dominant, what he can do as far as handling the ball. And I also don't think people give him enough credit as far as what he does in the paint. But AD with them injuries, that's going to be the major concern. And with LeBron, he's going to be 39 years old. So AD's injuries, they bring back D'Angelo Russell to the team. I think D'Lo can give you what he can do on offense in terms of perimeter shooting, but defense is a problem. I love the fact that they kept Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura. I definitely love what they did by adding Gabe Vincent because I think 3-point shooting was a strong necessity for the Lakers to have. They can compete within the Western Conference Finals. Could they compete for a championship if the players stay healthy and they develop more chemistry? I think they could do that. But in the long term, as far as with Anthony Davis, then 3 years, how's he going to be without LeBron James? That's going to be a question.
Well, do you think LeBron is leaving or retiring within the next 3 years?
Hasn't LeBron said that he wants to stick around because his kids, he wants to be around when his kids play basketball? But in all likelihood, that's probably not going to happen.
I mean, I agree. I doubt very highly he's going to play with his kids. But as far as him playing basketball, I mean, have you seen any slip in his game, like as a totality, like to the point of where you'll say, nah, I don't think he got another couple.
Oh no,
years in him.
he one thing we know about LeBron, he takes tremendous care of himself. I mean, he puts in the time.
And production wise, he's still like a high caliber player.
Yeah,
Right.
it's kind of funny how like he missed man average 30 man saying he's falling off.
No,
It's
for
just
real,
like
no, for real. Like,
yeah,
like,
we understand. I think with LeBron, it's more of a willing to like if he wants to like mentally like it's not probably I don't think LeBron's gonna leave like when he like that he can't do it. It's more like dang, I'm in the NBA for 20 years now, and I'm kind of tired of it. I'm getting tired of this training camp, getting tired of the little meetings, the like the everyday kind of like the stuff like that. I just want to go home, chill, because like at one point you kind of get checked out of doing, even though he loves basketball. We've been doing something for so long in your life. You want to change.
Yeah.
And it goes for any aspect. So it's like, and LeBron even talked about, I think there was some truth, even though he's capping that interview, there's also some truth into it. I think he really did. I think he is really contemplating from time to time about like, I'm gonna say within the next 3 years.
And he should.
I'm gonna say not this year, but within the next 3 years. And I feel like if they somehow win a championship, I feel like accelerated.
But okay. So like you
he
said,
should retire.
But like you just said, Dev, you think between 2 to 3 years. I agree because I think if I'm LeBron and AD just signed this max extension, there's no way Anthony Davis signs this extension without having a conversation with LeBron saying, "Hey, bro, what's your thought process? What's going on with your mind? This is what I'm thinking." Because that's his crime partner, right? Like hypothetically, the reason that AD is here because of LeBron, and the reason LeBron is here, is still here, is because of AD, along with Hollywood calling his name. So if AD is here, he has to have some source from, well, not source, but he had to have some conversation with LeBron saying, "Hey, if you're here for this long, I'm gonna ride it out with you." And I haven't seen any signs of LeBron dropping off to the point of where he's like, I think I'm gonna hang it up this year, right? Like on some Tom Brady shit. So if that's the case, right, then you have 3 years of not just Anthony Davis, but you also have LeBron. So if that's the case, the only thing that we should, as fans of the game, be concerned about is the roster construction, because that's been the major question outside of their injuries. AD just had a healthy season this year for his standards. He had a healthy season this year, and LeBron had a mediocre season from like health standpoint, right?
Dang, I just realized how dominant AD defensively is. I went to go check the stats of his games, and like,
we talked about this. But then we talked about this.
I forgot him. No, I just forgot how. No, I forgot how good he was. Like, dang, this man.
But if there's one thing AD had coming out of college, coming out of Kentucky, was that defensive presence. That's what we knew. I mean, coming out, there were people who said that he was Bill Russell, even though that's a mouthful. No, I mean, to make that type of comparison with him and Bill Russell. But AD, we knew he had the defense. Offensively, X has a nice mid-range game. I mean,
not
I think
anymore.
Not anymore. No. I think casual. His 3-point game is just horrendous. It's horrendous.
I think his mid-range game is mid. at this point.
Early on in his career,
Early
in
on
New
in his
Orleans,
career, I think he was a very.
It was very.
quality mid-range
His mid range
player.
is very up and down this season, right? I would agree. Casual was mid. Like there's points in the season was knocking down, and points it wasn't. Like even in the playoffs, just like in game 1 against the Warriors, he was cash. I think I still believe it's a mid range. I just think that obviously him being out, the injuries, like him being out, losing his rhythm leads to his inconsistent mid range. The 3-point shot's not there. The 3-point shots is like. It's average. I don't think he's terrible,
No,
but like, I think he's a
bad to terrible 3-point shooter.
But he only needs to shoot like 2-3 threes a game at most.
He's at 30% throughout
Yeah,
his career.
He's a bad to terrible 3-point shooter.
The bubble. Because the bubble stats are fake. The bubble was fake.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I think 2020 was an aberration offensively for Anthony Davis. I think it was a feel good story. Anthony Davis finally being on a team that contends for a title. He's playing alongside LeBron James. LeBron was still at the peak of his powers, playmaking wise. So AD was getting some very, very good looks. I think that was the reason why he was putting forth, I think, his best offensive season of his career. That being said, though, Anthony Davis now, offensively, he is pure paint presence. Mid-range, I don't think it's respected as much.
It's inconsistent at best.
Yeah, it's inconsistent at best. And that the 3-point shot is bad.
No, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Don't even mention that.
Exactly. So if we looking at that, but we also agree. I think we all agree to what you were saying. With coming out of college up to now, Anthony Davis has been everything defensively that we thought he could be coming out of college, and then some.
Right.
So understanding that and matching with the fact that LeBron at this point, although he is not good defensively at this point in his career, and offensively he's taking a dip, he's still a top 10 player.
Where would you rank LeBron?
Right now, what I gave the list literally Sunday. Damn, Dev, he got me on the spot. Hold on. Can I go down the list right now?
Yeah, go ahead. However you want to do it.
Okay, I got Giannis 1, Jokic 2, Steph 3, Luka 4. Luka 4 and Embiid 5.
What about Tatum?
I struggle between who's better between him and KD. I think Tatum is better now, so he's 6, KD's 7. So that means LeBron's 8.
Okay. I have Jokic 1, Giannis 2, Steph 3.
Mm-hmm.
Luka, I mean, I listen to SB Talk Sports and I like him, but he actually didn't he say something about Tatum being better than Luka?
I heard that too, and it low-key making me cringe because I think what happens sometimes when we're talking sports, when you're talking sports to certain people, some people value the ability to play on both sides,
right?
Rather than also understanding that there are some cases where somebody is just so good on one side that although they're mediocre to bad on the other, that other side impacts it far more than the other player that plays on both sides and could ever even imagine. And I think that's the case when it comes to Luka and Tatum. I think Luka offensively, the way he's able to impact on that side of the floor is so great that Tatum can't fathom to do that on either side. He's not, like his playmaking skills are mid, and I think his scoring is not consistent enough for him to keep up with Luka. And defensively, I think he's a great defender. He's one of the best defenders in the league. But again, it's not good enough to keep up with what Luka's doing on the offensive end. Like in Luka's case, we're talking about a top 5 scorer, a top 3 playmaker.
I think it also depends on the talent that Luka's around, because Jason Tatum is surrounded with much more talent compared to Luka. So you have to factor that into the consideration, and also the competition. If you put Luka with the Boston Celtics, and if you put,
I think they've gone against the same. I think they've gone against the same amount of competition.
But do you think that they would go farther though?
You're saying if you switch them.
Yes.
Hypothetically,
you put Jason Tatum with the Dallas Mavericks roster, and if you put Luka Doncic on the East with the Boston Celtics, I don't know if Jason Tatum will go that far, even though he's more versatile
I
than
don't think
Luka.
that. Well, I mean, do you? Okay, so then we would basically be discussing if you put Jason Tatum on that 2021 roster, would they make it to the Western Conference Finals? And if you ask me, I would say no, because I think the way that Luka was able to pick apart that Phoenix Suns team
Defense.
defensively, it's no way that Jason Tatum could be able to do that because his playmaking is just not that good.
Yeah.
But I will say defensively, their team would be way superior than Luka. So, now that I'm thinking about it, hold on, because
Yeah,
you got to think.
that's what I'm saying. I feel
Dorian
like
Finney-Smith was really, really good. Jalen Brunson was on one. Spencer Dinwiddie was on one.
right.
God, bro, they could possibly do it though. They may not. They're not gonna blow them out, but they could. I mean, bro, if we're thinking about it, think about the lineup. It would have been Brunson, Dinwiddie, Tatum at the 3, Finney-Smith at the 4, and who did they have at the 5? Maxi Kleber?
I thought Maxi Kleber was,
or was it Powell?
I don't recall, but I thought Keebler played the 4.
Then it had to be Powell. So if it's Powell,
and plus, I think Jalen Brunson could take some of the load off of Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum is great off the ball.
Yes.
Yeah, Luka, we all know he's not great off the ball. He's better off on the ball.
I think they probably could. I just talked myself into it because think about the switchability between Dorian Finney-Smith and Tatum. So it would be really, really nice to see that. I think they could. I think the chances of them pulling it off is like less likely because obviously the way that they did that to Phoenix, especially in Game 7, was Luka's playmaking specifically and how he was able to force those mismatches and take advantage of them every single time. So it was magical. But I think the defense would be so much better now. They might not even need to worry about that.
All right. But I think but going back to AD, I hope now with this contract and money, it don't really change you. It makes you more than what you already are. With this new contract, what's Anthony Davis is going to do in the off season? What is he doing as far as off the season to make sure that his body is in condition or in peak condition? Because the injuries, that's been the problem with him throughout his career. LeBron, we know he stays ready. AD, I think he gets ready. I just don't think AD is prioritizing his health as much as I think he should have, in my personal opinion, which is why we've seen the injuries reoccur. Now, you can't do anything about it. His history is his history. But I just don't know, like with them 3 years, I mean, he's worth the money. And of course, if the Lakers, if they lose him, where else are you going to find something in return for AD?
You're not with this type of money, especially the market that you're speaking of, as far as like the money skyrocketing to where that amount of money that you're giving Anthony Davis doesn't seem so crazy in a couple years. That happens in a couple years. So 2025 to be specific. So if you were, let's say, within the next couple of years before the salary jump, let's say it gets so bad that you need to trade him, you're not going to get you're not getting the talent that's going to be able to impact the same way that he is, and then 2, nobody on the market within the next couple of years is touching what he's going to be making outside of outright superstars. And again, if you're a team, why would you trade one superstar for another?
Right. Casual, before we move on to some football stuff, let's talk about one last basketball topic.
All right.
Which team or which player do you feel like has the most to prove heading into the 2023 season? I don't know if you've seen my podcast or seen me on my YouTube channel. I've been very critical of one Ben Simmons. I think Ben Simmons.
Yes.
I just don't think he takes the game as seriously as much as he should have. And if he replicates another year like he had last season, then me, I think it's it.
Yeah, he's done. He's done. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just saying, yeah, it's over with for him. I 100% agree.
Shit, I think it's over for him now. I think the what he's done the last couple of years with the antics he pulled for him. Well, I won't say antics because it's not confirmed, but what I suspect to be antics that he pulled for him to get out of Philly to get to Brooklyn, and then the performance he put forth this past season. I honestly, I find it really hard to believe that Ben Simmons could be able to dig himself out of this hole, barring him shooting threes. Period. Showing an effort at this point and doing it like effectively, like efficiently speaking.
Mhm.
That's the only way I see him being useful in the NBA any longer.
Well, according to all the reports, they're saying he's as healthy as he's ever been, but I'm like, I got to see it to believe it because because they're saying he's working hard. We're seeing the jump shot, but the problem is we don't see it in the game, so it hasn't been materialized. So with Ben Simmons, Brooklyn, there's nothing that they can do. Unfortunately, you stuck with him. Nobody at this point wants him, especially with the money that he's making, about $35 million, and he's giving you this type of production. But
you know what
the team,
you want to know what's funny? If you really think about it, every season where an injured player is coming back during the off season, there's always reports about, oh, he says he's healthier than he's ever been and he's ready to show the world what he truly can do. And then guess what happens? He comes into the season, he either stinks up the joint or he does not play no more than like 40 games again, and then they end up
And
right
you
back.
know what? And you know what makes it crazier? Because I looked it up. Obviously, Ben Simmons missed the first year in the league. Like, think about it. The first two seasons, all right, first season that Ben Simmons played, he played 81 games. Next season, 79. Guess what it drops to?
60, 50 something?
57. And then it goes to 58. And then he didn't play the whole year last season. And this past season, 42 games. So on average, I'll say that's around
It's like 60
50 games per season these last 4 seasons. So Ben Simmons has not played more than 60 games since 2019.
Oh wow.
damn.
But to answer your question, I think, in my opinion, the person that has the most to prove this season is Jordan Poole. I think
Mm.
coming off of this past season, from what I saw from watching basketball since Steph Curry broke his hand back in 2019, Jordan Poole, to be honest with you, he's been suspect on on the court since he was given the ball from Steve Kerr. Like that I'm just keeping the facts. Like I was not impressed with his breakout season quote in 2021. I was not surprised when he stunk up the joint in the playoffs this past season. Defensively, he is horrendous. Playmaking wise, he is bad. Scoring wise, people want to go off of I think 27 points he averaged when Steph Curry was out this past season, albeit on terrible efficiency, and he turned over the ball more than he had assists. So he's bad just all around. So in that sense, at least under the Golden State Warriors system, he didn't really bring you anything on either side outside of some inefficient scoring. So I'm looking at him in Washington and I'm truly wondering, can you make improvements or show some type of improvements in some light, whether it's efficiency, attempts on playmaking more, without turning over the ball so much, lowering your dribbles, defense, actually attempting on defense, something just so that it makes it look like Jordan Poole's contract doesn't look as bad as it looks right now. Because right now, he's really teetering on as far as like mid players go, he's teetering on having one of the worst contracts in the league. And I don't like saying that about players because I love when players, play into their money. But in his case, I don't see a reason why to say that he really deserved it. And I'm hoping this season he can prove me wrong. So, but right now that's my answer.
Casual. I want to ask you this question. Speaking of Ben Simmons and Jordan Poole, in your opinion, who has the worst contract between the two?
Oh, Ben Simmons, 100%. Because at least Jordan Poole's on the floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, and I agree with you with Jordan Poole. I think in Washington he will. I think he's going to attempt as many jump shots as he can in Washington. He's probably going to average 26 and 27 with the worst efficiency, one of the worst efficiencies that you can possibly think of. I just think in Golden State, as you mentioned, in terms of the defense, he was terrible defensively as well as his shot selection and playmaking. So honestly, what was he really giving you that was unique to the table? Not much.
Yeah. Kyle Kuzma to show you why he's the best player on the team.
Oh no, I think Kyle Kuzma. I don't think it should be much of a debate. I think this is Kyle Kuzma's team. I think the only thing that Jordan Poole is going to be useful for is bringing the ball down the court and occasionally chucking up some shots. I think that's the only thing that he can bring. I think, to be honest with you, I would fair and say that Washington is doomed to be the second worst defense in all of the league this upcoming season with their lineup, because
They're going to be
Jordan,
horrible defensively.
Yeah,
gonna be
because like I'm
terrible.
looking at a team, they only have a lot of defenders. They got Kuzma, who's not a good defender. Poole, they got Gibson, Corey Crisper, Johnny Davis. The only defender, the only defenders they got, Denny Abdia, he can play defense, and the rookie. That's the only defenders they got.
And even Abdi, he's solid. He's a solid defender. That's it. But like this Washington team is going to be the second worst defense, only coming in front of Charlotte, because Charlotte.
They got Daniel Gafford. Daniel Gafford's a good player. I like Gafford. Gafford. If Gafford,
I thought you were gonna say his name too, because I like Gafford too.
If he was on a contending team, Jesus, like if he's on the Warriors, or like the Lakers, or like or backup center or Nuggets, I like Gafford. Gafford's
I think Gafford is backup level. Like,
he's one of my favorite role players to watch. I don't know why.
Facts.
But the paint do look sweet in Washington. I'm not gonna lie. It looks sweet in Washington. Like defense.
Yeah.
Casual, you might get a couple open buckets on them.
Hey, hold on. I'm only 25. I can still ball on some motherfuckers. Right?
I'm saying like open looks, because you know how the league is. The league is a little different.
And shit, there's a couple NBA players I still got to play 1-on-1 against, man. So stay tuned.
All right, fellas, let's talk about some NFL.
Actually, I'm finna tap out. I gotta go ahead and put in these records and shit before I clock out. But
I got you.
It was good talking with you, bro.
Before you go, who do you think is the worst defense gonna be?
You said what, Dev?
He's the second worst. Who do you think is gonna be down there with them? Like as a worst defense.
Who do I think is going to be the second worst team?
Defense, because he said Washington.
Oh, I said Charlotte. Yeah,
Charlotte.
Okay.
I'm surprised none of y'all mentioned Phoenix.
Any roster that's comprised of LaMelo Ball and Terry Rozier.
They're not gonna be as bad. They're not gonna be as bad as those teams.
I'm surprised y'all didn't mention Phoenix, because I
still think Phoenix is like a middle pack defense.
I'm gonna say like they'll rank like 17th in the league.
Yeah, I think they're around the middle of the pack. I think DeAndre Ayton is still, like, regardless of what other people say, DeAndre Ayton he's a solid rim protector. He ain't great or nothing like that, but you would like worse people on his that would come before him. So he's good there. I think KD is a great rim protector. Dev, you remember?
Help side, yeah.
You remember me and Zeno was talking about this. I think him as a roamer has improved. I think on ball, I think quiet as kept, Devin Booker is actually really, really good defensively on that side. And I think Bradley Beal he's solid. I don't think there's anything to write home about, but he's not going.
Depending on the role players, they still got Okogie that can play. Like Okogie's going to guard the best players. Like none of these guys are going to guard the best players, especially when it comes to playoff time. I think Frank Vogel's going to find a scheme to set him up.
Frank Vogel as the head coach, who's defensive minded.
Yeah, so I think Frank Vogel's going to find a defensive scheme to hide whoever the worst player deficiencies is, so hide the deficiencies, make them play more passing lanes. I can see him playing a lot of zone instead of man to man.
I would like to see them not running zones exactly, but running some schemes that involve zones, so that they could be able to manipulate the defenses into running into DeAndre Ayton more so than allowing them to get free reign straight to the rim. I would like that, but I think middle of the pack. Worst case scenario.
Yeah,
That's
man, no
fine.
casual got to go now.
All right,
Yeah,
casual.
yeah. But yeah, Dev, it was good seeing you again.
Of
Sports,
course.
bro. I literally just tapped in with you. My homie Desto told me
Oh,
that you
yeah,
yeah,
good dude. He's
my
a
homie
really good
Desto,
dude.
yeah, he great dude, great dude. He told me that you got this podcast. I tapped in and I figured I might as well come in and see what the fuss was about. So it was good talking
Anytime,
with
man,
you. I
you're more than
definitely plan
welcome,
on
man.
coming on. I definitely plan on
Anytime, man,
coming
you're
in more.
always more than welcome to hop on. And by the way, before I let you out, where to
Mhm.
follow you at, man?
Oh, follow me on the casual. We do the podcast on YouTube. It's called sorry, blank RJD podcast. You can also catch me on Instagram. I am dot Justin Avery. You can catch me anywhere, man.
All right, man. Appreciate it, man. Take it
Hey,
easy, bro.
hey, y'all take care, all right?
Will do, man.
He said the NFL's back. The NFL's back. The NFL is back. My fantasy is ready. I'm ready to watch the Falcons to disappoint me again. Now I'm playing.
All right, but before we talk about the Alvin Kamara, did you by any chance saw that preseason game between the Jets and the Browns?
Hey, I watched it. I love DTR's game. I love him in that system. He's one of my favorite college quarterbacks to watch. Well, Zach Wilson is Zach Wilson. Like nothing new.
He did
Who
make
else?
one beautiful throw though.
Yeah. I think he's gonna a career backup, and I think it's another example of bad analysis from scouts because I don't think yes, Zach Wilson a bust, but I also blame scouts and the Jets because I don't think he was. There's no way he jumped Justin Fields after. I like that doesn't make any sense to me. This guy out of 1 year jumps Justin Fields, in my opinion, who's the second best prospect there, or even a Trey Lance who had more film on him than what's the name Zach
Who?
Wilson. Like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's like and like even with the Mitch Trubisky situation, him jumping Deshaun and Mahomes when you have more film on them and more analysis on them after 1 year. I don't really get that stuff.
I just think, and coming out of college, I was a big Zach Wilson fan. I mean, I liked the way he threw the football and stuff. But if you look at him the past couple of seasons, his numbers are actually worse than Jamarcus Russell's.
Yep, and he still has the opportunity. Jamarcus Russell was added there after like a season or two.
After 3 years in the NFL, because he didn't really play that much in his rookie year because he held out for that contract. I think he played in like the last game of his rookie season, and then after that, those 2 seasons he was horrendous.
And that's what and guess what? I have a feeling that Zach Wilson will still be around. I do have a feeling
He'll still be around, but you know what? That when I look at the Jets, that's on him because the fact that they had to trade to get Aaron Rodgers just tells me how bad you were as a quarterback. Jets had every chance to make the playoffs because of their defense. Brees Hall would have definitely been offensive rookie of the year had he not gotten hurt. Garrett Wilson is looking like one of the best receivers in the NFL.
Who won the offensive rookie of the year? I'm sorry for interrupting.
I forgot who. I gotta go look that up. But when I look at it, Zach Wilson was in a situation to succeed and flourish, and he couldn't do that. And that's on him. I mean, they surrounded him with pieces, they gave him a weapon, they did everything they could for Zach Wilson, and unfortunately for him, he just didn't capitalize. He just didn't. He just didn't capitalize. And I think Garrett Wilson won Offensive Rookie of the Year. I forgot. But let's talk about the NFL real quick. Alvin Kamara. The NFL suspended Alvin Kamara for 3 games for violating the league's personal conduct policy. It's regarding an incident back in February of 2022. He was facing felony charges for battery. However, he pled no contest to a misdemeanor breach of peace charge to settle the case. He also settled a civil case brought by the man who accused Kamara and 3 other men of attacking him. I'm reading an article here from Josh Alper from Pro Football Talk, NBC Sports. It says here, Kamara can practice with the Saints until the first week of the regular season, and he can take part in the team's preseason games. So some of the games that he will have to miss are the Titans, the Packers, and the Carolina Panthers. And as well for the Saints, they have Jamal Williams, They have third round pick Kendre Miller, Eno Benjamin, and Ellis Merriweather. So Dev, I'm gonna let you go with this, man. I mean, you are a Falcons fan. What are your thoughts about the suspension, and do you think this will help the Falcons' chances as far as competing in the NFC South?
Oh yeah, it's better for us, but I never like to see players, get in any type of trouble. Like football side, I do kind of, it's kind of sad to see like players get in trouble and get in any type of legal action or issue. Hopefully, there's more details and we get some more reasoning behind what actually happened. I don't say what actually happened, what more details on Alvin Kamara's side of the story, and not just because anything could happen. Could have been like something like someone spilled a drink, this, that, or commotion. And look, and I don't think it's probably not. Maybe it's nothing too crazy. He's only getting 3 games. I'm assuming it wasn't like something too crazy, but it is a bad blow for the Saints because he's in my opinion, probably your best offensive piece, especially with Michael Thomas injuries these last couple of years. Now you have Derek Carr. You're losing your best offensive piece. Yeah. Well, you still got Olave, but that's the thing. For the Saints, it's a bad blow for the Saints because you never want to lose your top running back. But even though for 3 games, I don't think it'll hurt them too much. I think they can still survive. Let me see who their schedule. Let me look at the Saints schedule real quick.
Yeah, I could show it to you if you want.
Okay.
All right, let me see the Saints schedule. For the regular season, they have week 1 against the Titans, week 2 against the Panthers. That's on the road. Then they have another road game against the Packers. Then they have a home game against the Buccaneers, on the road against the Patriots, on the road against the Texans, home game against the Jaguars, on the road against the Colts, home game against the Bears, on the road against the Vikings, on the road against the Falcons, home game against the Lions, home game against the Panthers, home game against the Giants, on the road against the Rams, on the road against the Bucks, and they finish the season with a home game against the Falcons.
Okay, so their first 3 games, I think they'll be okay without Alvin Kamara. Nothing. It's not. Their schedule's not too crazy in the beginning of half. They can still win. All 3 of those games are very winnable, even without Alvin Kamara, in my opinion.
Now, you still think that the Falcons, they still have a chance to win the division, despite how I feel about Desmond Ridder. And I don't know, I've told you this before. I think the best thing that they should do is try to get Kyler Murray in a trade.
Of course, I think. Of course, our division is very weak. I've been complaining of this, and I'm very consistent with no matter what sport. We had to see them play at least. Like I don't care who it is, this that. I want to at least see them play, see if they can play. I want to give people a fair chance because we never know. Everyone is going to assume because like if we end up, let's say we ditch him, he goes to another team and end up balling out. Hey, that's on us because we had him. Like we should at least see how good he actually is and give players a chance. And like I said, we still have time. Like Kyler Murray is still recovering from the ACL. It's going to be a little bit, and we don't know how Kyler Murray is going to come back. So that's why I say keep Ridder in the meantime until Murray becomes available and like see what the Cardinals do because the Cardinals have been unpredictable, and I don't know what position they're going to get if they'll win the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. Like that's the thing, we don't know how the Cardinals are.
But they're going to be one of the worst teams in football.
Oh yeah, most definitely. But like they'll mess around and go like how the Cardinals are. They'll mess around, get number 1 pick, draft Marvin Harrison Jr.
I just can't imagine them doing that.
Even though Marvin Harrison will be a top 3 pick, but still.
No, he'll be a top 3 pick. But can you imagine drafting a wide receiver over Caleb Williams?
No, I know. That's something the Cardinals will do.
Right. Who many compare him to Patrick Mahomes.
Maybe Mahomes. I'll say he's baby Mahomes.
Yeah. And plus people keep forgetting Drake May from North Carolina.
No. People love Drake May. Listen, like those two, they're the best. These are 2 best. This is the best dual quarterback class since I want to say Luck versus what's the name? Luck and RG3. Let me think. I think this is better. This is better than Carson Winston golf. Better than Winston and Mariota.
All right.
Burrow and Herbert. Well, we got to give it time. I want to give it some time. But just prospects out of college, I think these are the best two prospects to come out as a duo.
All right. Meanwhile, let's talk about some college football. Let's talk about some college football. The big news surrounding the Oregon and Washington. They're heading to the Big Ten, man. Dev, what are your thoughts, man?
Pac-12 in shambles. Pac-12 in shambles.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Deion in Colorado about to have a field day.
Yeah, I mean USC. Remember USC, UCLA. They went to the Big Ten, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Oregon and now Washington in the Big Ten. In Colorado, they're heading to the Big 12. And plus, there may be a possibility that a couple of other teams in the Pac-12 are leaving. I'm just reading this report right here, right now. Big 12 Conference introduces Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah as additions, leaving Pac-12 with 4 schools for 2024-2025.
Oh, so because here's what's happening. One is TV deals, because I think this is a conference's way of getting out of the NCAA power struggles, because you know how the NCAA is, and they want to be individual, so that's why they're combining and making these super conferences so they can run things. They can run how. So like when players eligibility or like when players get suspended, they can dictate that, because you know these big programs don't like to be told what to do. And also, rumors have it that the Big Ten is also trying to get Clemson. They already got Oregon, so the rumors of them getting Oregon came true. Okay. Now we gotta see if they want Clemson, because Clemson's a big brand, and FSU. They want the teams from the ACC, Clemson, Miami, and FSU, the big brands. Those are the 3 biggest brands in the ACC, and the SEC and the Big Ten wants those brands. So if they can get one of those schools, that's gonna be a big deal for them, increasing their brand and making a super conference. And it's gonna be very interesting how it goes with college football in the future.
I think honestly, Dev, it's all about the money.
Yes.
To your point. These big programs, major programs, they rather start their own, go to a different conference, don't like to be told what to do, get as much money as they possibly can, the TV ratings, and how much it could definitely help them. But the Pac-12, it's going to be, it's unwatchable.
What? So what schools? So less 4 schools that left them, right?
We all know USC, UCLA, they left. Colorado, they're going to leave to join the Big 12. Oregon and Washington, and now
Oregon and Washington. Oh yeah, the Pac-12. The only teams in the Pac-12 now are, you have Colorado. Hold on, let me pull it back up. There you go. Colorado, Arizona State, Arizona, Oregon State, Stanford, Washington State, and Utah. Yeah, that's it. Those are the only schools.
So I mean, now when you look at it, and now the Big 12, they're approving the additions of both Utah, Arizona State, now bringing it to 16 teams.
Yeah, now, and that's the thing. The only way the Pac-12 has to bring up some like the not Power 5, the non-Power 5. What do you call the non-Power 5 schools? The group of 5 schools. The group of 5 schools, like I think Cincinnati. That means Cincinnati can move on to a Power 5 conference. Probably a team like Coastal Carolina can move up to a Power 5 conference. Notre Dame, they're not in an official conference really, even though Notre Dame are independent. So it's going to be really interesting.
Speaking of Clemson, Dev, because I know you're a Clemson dude, would you hate to see them leave the ACC to join the Big Ten? Because there's probably no guarantee you're going to come out and win the Big Ten, because you got to deal with Ohio State, Michigan, and sooner or later USC and all the other teams there.
I think Here's the thing with way college football is going now. I don't think it's gonna be terrible now with the new rules. So now it's not a 14 playoff, so we can still make the playoff. So now, if it's still a 14 playoff thing, then yeah. But I think with the new rules and everything, how way college football is changing, I don't think it's necessarily going to be terrible for like a team leave their conference as long as you still be good enough for like I say a top 3 in your conference up there. Then you still have a chance to win a national championship. And yeah, it's gonna be tough. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I'd rather be in a pack in a Big Ten than the SEC. I'll say that.
Right.
I
So
feel like they have a way better chance than winning the Big Ten and the SEC because they got the Bama, Georgia, and then the LSU versus having to go versus like Ohio State. I feel like they can be. They have some years they can be beat. Michigan, they have the years to be beat. Versus Alabama, Georgia, they're very consistent. It's every single year.
yeah. And Florida State, there was something about them leaving the ACC, something about revenue distribution, something.
Yeah. They listen. The Big Ten and the SEC wants FSU and Clemson bad. Those are two big brands.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's no doubt about it. As for Colorado joining the Big 12, I love it because we all know the Big 12, when it comes to defense is an afterthought. And one thing we know about the Big 12, they're going
to only play big defense in the South, really.
Right. But the Big 12, one thing they know about Dev is offense. They're very prolific when it comes to that offense. But the Big 10, I mean, to get Oregon and Washington to join, and then you got USC and UCLA in that mix. I mean, it's going to be very exciting. I mean, OSU and Michigan. I mean, the days of them coming out the Big 10, it's not going to be pretty easy though. But
yeah, and that's another thing. I think also the Big 10 kind of like got tired of like they did have a label of that the conference is kind of weaker than like because like you follow me. I always say the Big 10 used to be like overrated conference, like how strong they actually were. Like if you look into it, it's like is Ohio State, Michigan, and other team schools be like pretty bad or average. Like Penn State's been average, Minnesota average. Like versus like they've been like now if you add those schools, you can like their conference. You can't call their conference weak now. You can say like Ohio State went through some competition now. You can say Michigan went through some competition. You can compete with the SEC and say, "Hey, now we're really the top dog conference," because the SEC been dominant, known as the premier conference the whole time. And our Big Ten is a Big Ten way of getting those athletes from the South to their schools, to their conference. Like, hey, we're the best conference now. We're competing with this conference. Come to us,
Right. Before we move on to some other college football topics, speaking of Colorado, I think Colorado is going to take them some time. They definitely need to invest on the O-line, but they're loaded offensively. How long do you think it's going to take them in order for them to compete for a national championship in your mind, Dev?
5 years.
5 years or so. I mean, Prime right now, the way that he has that roster, I think offensively they're going to score some points, and I think you agree there. But defensively and the O line, there's going to be some problems.
Oh yeah, it's always a trend. No, that's the difference between like SEC and like other schools in D1, D2. Like I go to Tennessee State, and there's some of the most talented players, like skill position players. I know, like, and I've seen them in camps. I've seen like some players on my football team at Tennessee beat some corners at high level schools. The difference is our line is just way smaller. Like it's the trenches. Like the difference between school to school, what makes the SEC so dominant, other than like the skill positions, because I don't want to take away from them, it's the trenches. Like look at Alabama. Look how big these 19 and 20-year-olds are on their line and D line. They're grooming the animals.
Yeah,
it's the trenches. That's even in high school. Like usually the teams that win. Like in Texas, like you see how big these kids in Texas are. Where's like let's see the best school in Jersey, or where you're in Jersey, right?
Yeah, I live in Jersey.
Let's say one of the best schools in Jersey versus best schools in Texas. It's gonna be a major difference between the O line. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, don't talk about Jersey when it comes to J-Rob. J-Rob will tell you Jersey got the best.
No, when it comes to basketball, y'all got it. But yeah, y'all hoop up north. Y'all really got north right hooping.
Yeah. Football ain't that bad though. I mean, we've had some really good products that have come out of Jersey.
Most definitely.
Yeah. But let's talk about the college football. Which team or player are you most interested in seeing in 2023, and who you have as your early Heisman favorite?
Okay, obviously my favorite, obviously Cade. Well, Cade's not gonna win the Heisman. Cade is my most excited player to watch.
Caleb Williams.
Oh, Caleb Williams gonna win the Heisman. I'm talking about excited for me is Cade Klubnik for Clemson quarterback.
Yeah.
But
He's gonna be good,
I'm
especially
interested.
replacing for DJ. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens in Ohio State with who's the quarterback now? Yeah, I forgot his name.
Well, it's no longer CJ. I forgot, but
Ohio
Texas. Yeah.
I'm interested in Ohio State quarterback. I'm interested to see what Sam Hartman does in Notre Dame. I'm interested to see Georgia new starting quarterback. I'm interested to see Alabama's new quarterback, either if it's gonna be Ty Simpson or what's his name? Gilmore. I forgot the other quarterback, the real athletic one. I'm really interested in Brock Bowers. I'm interested to see what type
He's
of
gonna be a top. He's gonna be. I think he's gonna be a really top 5, top 10 pick. Easily.
Yeah, him. The Perkins. Oh yeah, the Perkins dude in LSU. He's gonna be whatever. He's gonna. I feel like he's one of the best defenders in the I think he's a linebacker or a D lineman for LSU.
I think.
If I get his name, I'm gonna look up his name real quick. But you can talk real quick. I'm gonna look up his name.
I think the player I'm most interested in seeing, Marvin Harrison Jr. I love Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's without question the best wide receiver in the draft. All this talk about Caleb Williams, I love me some Drake May, man. I mean, I saw that game he had against Appalachian State, in which
I seen him live.
Yeah, but when I look at Drake May, I think all this talk about Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams is without question the #1 overall.
Oh, pick. Okay, I got his name. Harold Perkins. That's the name. Harold Perkins. He's one of the best linebackers I've ever seen in a minute.
Georgia is going to be interesting to see how they're going to go without some of the notable players on defense, particularly Jalen Carter, Stetson Bennett, who's going to be the quarterback there for them. Alabama, they got the quarterback situation there. Michigan, how are they going to be without Jim Harbaugh because he's suspended for 4 games?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Their cornerback, who's going to be a freshman, he's going to be a top 10 pick in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I think Michigan, this is going to be a blow for Michigan. I don't know how they're going to be because, like, obviously losing a head coach is like a
right.
In any sport, it's like a head turn. So we'll see. I think they're going to win games because their schedule is like, but when they face Ohio State or when they face one of the teams like Penn State, Penn State can beat them at any time because it's a rivalry.
And speaking of Penn State, because our boy Broad Sports, go watch out Drew Allar. He's going to be the starter.
Oh, he is?
He should be. He's a 5-star recruit.
Is he a freshman?
No, I think he redshirted his freshman year.
Okay.
He'll probably be a redshirt freshman or a sophomore. But if you watch him play, he's about 6'4", 6'5", strong arm. He's prototypical already. I think he's going to be really good, especially on the NFL level.
You know who I'm also seeing? Watch Michael Penix. He's one of the best. He's super good. I just hate the injuries been hindering him because like if he doesn't get hurt, he'll be a way better prospect because he's one of the best talents in the in college football. Like if you was watching play ever since Indiana, it's just injuries been hindering him. Michael Penix got a great zip in the arm, great anticipation. In my opinion, he's a Heisman. He's a dark horse Heisman candidate. I think he'll finish top 5 or up there, depending on his. He was in a year, but Heisman. I'm gonna go with. Here's my top 3 for the Heisman. I'm gonna have Caleb Williams.
All right, you got Caleb Williams as your Heisman.
I'm gonna go with dudes. I'm gonna put Marvin Harrison at number 2. I'm gonna say Marvin Harrison will finish number 2. I think Drake May will be number 3. Michael Penix will finish number 4. And then number 5, I'm trying to think. Number 5, let me think. I want to give like a hot take, a doozy pick. I'm gonna say Bo Nix at 5. I think Bo Nix has his best year, for his final year.
Any defensive players that you want to take into consideration for Heisman?
Harold Perkins, most definitely.
Okay.
Jared Verse from FSU. I'm gonna go with another guy. Oh, no matter of fact, let me take out. I gotta put Blake Corum in Heisman watch. He had a great year last year. I gotta put Blake Corum in the Heisman watch.
All right.
And obviously, a corner would never win it, but a corner, I think that's gonna have a great year this year. Kalen King,
Hmm.
watch out for him.
All right. I'm gonna definitely take that into consideration. I can't wait for college football, man. But let's finish these last couple of subjects, man. Because I wish Broad would have been here because we all know how much he is a Tim Tebow fan. He thinks Tim Tebow is the greatest college football player of all time.
That's a hot take. I'm not gonna lie, it's very hot.
But
That's actually not. That's not hot, but I disagree with it.
I think as Trey said it on Player's Choice, Tim Tebow was surrounded with a gang load of talent. You
He
know,
was.
not taking anything away what Tim Tebow accomplished. I mean, he was a great leader and all, but it does help when you had Hernandez, Luis Murphy, Percy Harvin. You did have Urban Meyer as your head coach. And then on the defensive side, you had Carlos Dunlap, you have Janoris Jenkins. Also on offense, I forgot about the Pouncey brothers, the Pouncey twins.
That team, that team was crazy. Stat. That's one of the best teams we ever seen.
All right.
I'll be right. Oh, you can continue the segment. I just gotta go to the bathroom quick.
All right, real quick. So, folks, who, in your opinion, honestly, is the greatest college football player of all time? Who, in your opinion, is the greatest college football player of all time? Do you think it's Tim Tebow? Honestly, I don't think it's Tim Tebow. I think there are plenty of other players that you can possibly look at that was greater than Tim Tebow. You can look at Archie Griffin, who's won the Heisman multiple times. Only person to do that. I think he won it back-to-back years. I mean, you could look at other players, even though they've done it for a shorter period of time than Tim Tebow, but there was something unique about them from a talent standpoint that made you amazed. You can look at Cam Newton. You could look at Vince Young. You look at other football players in college that were more dynamic to the table than Tim Tebow. I just think Tim Tebow, two things could be true. You can't take away what he accomplished as far as his collegiate career, his credentials. I think he was a great leader. I think he was a great teammate. Guys love saying wonderful things about him, but he was surrounded by a tremendous amount of talent at Florida. We cannot argue that. You cannot argue that he was surrounded with a gang load of talent during his time at the University of Florida. I mean, he did win a Heisman, he did win a national championship, but that is true. That is true. I just don't think from a talent standpoint, you could look at Tim Tebow and you can say he's the greatest college football player of all time. I mean, is he accomplished? Yeah. I mean, of course, you're going to have to factor what his credentials and stuff. But as far as from a football standpoint, just looking at the eye test, other than his running ability, what was so dynamic or unique about Tim Tebow? What was it that stood out to you as far as what he accomplished in his collegiate career? Collegiate career, not his NFL career, his collegiate career. I just think what he had around him at Florida says a lot. I mean, it's easy when you have a tremendous amount of talent that he had in Florida. Can't take that away. But Dev, are you here? No, he's not here yet. But I just think Tim Tebow, two things can be true. He was surrounded with great talent around him. Still shouldn't take away what he accomplished. But I would like to see him in much different circumstances than Florida. When I looked at Cam, what he had in Auburn, when I look at what Cam Newton had at the University of Auburn when he started back in 2010, by far the best player on his team. Second best player was Nick Fairley. You look at the wide receivers, you look at the talent he had, it was nothing compared to Tim Tebow. Nothing
I'm
compared
mad.
to Tim Tebow. But Dev, are you here? Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you're here, man. I was just talking about how Tim Tebow looked. He was surrounded with great amount of talent at Florida, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it should take away what he accomplished. But I would like to see him in much different circumstances than what he had at Florida, because let's see him go somewhere else and do that. That's what I think. But we're gonna do which one you want. We're gonna end off the podcast with these last two subjects. Which one you want, Dev, between Reggie Bush or Derrick Henry?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. Listen, the biased Clemson fan gonna come at me. Give me Reggie Bush because what he did to my team was kind of, embarrassing. I was like, So, reason why I'm going Reggie Bush because I'm a fast guy. Like I love running track field. I'm biased towards speed. I just think Reggie Bush was super dynamic and like electric, and like what he did in the football field was absolutely insane. He can run between the tackles, catch the passes, be a pass catcher. I think Reggie Bush by a slight edge because of the explosiveness and looseness. Give me Reggie. There's not discrediting Derrick Henry because he's also. It's more like a preference on which one you want. Like you want the power or you want the finesse.
I like Reggie because he was more elusive, though. I mean,
Mhm.
Derrick Henry. I mean, he had the power, but he had speed, though. He had speed, and I mean, Reggie. I think Reggie was more dynamic, not only with the running, but also on special teams too, though. I mean, he was nice in those days. I mean, when that college football game came out, I still play that college football game. That he was just nice, man. He was that dude coming out of USC. And we got one last one. It's a tough one for you, Dev.
Bet.
Cam or Vince?
I'm gonna go with Cam. It's tough, but I think what Cam would impress me more is because the loaded offense that wasn't really a great. He didn't have as much talent as he did. I think Cam Newton had one of the greatest years we ever seen. Like he was Auburn. Like the way he carried that offense, the way he was able to elevate his team in the SEC. I think just Cam Newton was just more. What Cam Newton did impress me a little bit more.
I think with Cam, I mean, yeah, as you mentioned, the lack of talent he had around. I mean, his wide receivers: Darvin Adams, Terrell Zachary, Emery Blake, Cody Burns. God rest his soul, Philip Letzenkirk, the tight end, and the running backs were Mario Fannin, Michael Dyer, Antonio McCaleb. Cam was by far the best player on that team, played in the best conference in college football. He came back from I think it was like a 17-point deficit against Alabama at Alabama. I mean, he was going through a lot of scrutiny at the time because of the whole play-for-play scandal with him and his father. But 30 touchdowns on the air. He also had 20 on the ground. He also had a receiving touchdown. He was clearly that dude, 6'5", 6'6", 250 pounds. That 49-yard run, touchdown run he had against LSU when Patrick Peterson was trying to drag him down, but it wasn't enough to stop him from getting to the end zone. But Vince Young, man, that national championship game he had against USC, that's still one of the greatest college football performances ever. I mean, Dev, it's right up there with your boy Deshaun Watson at Alabama.
Yeah. No, I agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah, because Deshaun Watson, the first year when he lost to Alabama, he was
better.
Yeah,
he was better the first year, in my opinion.
I thought the second year he got better. He was better. No turnovers. He put up more yards. He put up more touchdowns, and you had the game-winning touchdown pass.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson really should be up. I think his name should be brought up a lot more when it comes to the greatest quarterbacks discussions of college football history. That's just me. That's not being a biased Clemson fan. I think what he showed in regular season, I think him elevating the playoffs as well in the biggest stage, set his name apart too.
Right. But man, I mean, Deshaun was that truth, and of course later on you did have Trevor Lawrence, and then the first year, he torched Alabama that year. But Deshaun, those 2 national championships that stood out to me. Vince Young is right up there, but I give the edge to Cam. I think Cam had a lot to work, didn't have that much to work around him at Auburn. His head coach was Gene Chizik, who was known for defense. I mean, but he did have Gus Malzahn as an offensive coordinator. I think Gus Malzahn was a good offensive coordinator who ultimately later became a head coach at Auburn, who took the Tigers to the national championship, but lost to the Florida State Seminoles, I think, back in 2014. So he was a pretty good coach, really good offensive coordinator during his time there. But Cam, I just think what he did, how he did it, how he didn't have that much to work with, the competition he had against in the SEC, and how dynamic he was. Cam was just as dynamic as Vince Young.
Oh yeah,
So
he was at the tank.
yeah, so that's how I look at it. But anyway, folks, that concludes the rest of the podcast. Dev, appreciate you for hopping on, man. Tell them where to follow you at, man.
I might let me get my YouTube channel. You can find me on my social at Da Vinci, and you can find me my YouTube at Da Vinci Sports. So let me pull it up so I can put it in the private chat. So yeah, new episodes coming up. Jeopardy coming soon, and more videos, more and drafts coming soon too. I will be posting drafts on my YouTube channel as well. So let me.
All right. And folks, y'all know where to find me at. It's your boy Sports PSP. Always like and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well as the IG Sports PSP. Also on TikTok Sports PSP 3. Also, let me do something real quick. Let me give my boy Dev some love. Let me go send out his the comment that he left on the private chat. You all know where to follow him right here. Here's the link right there. Go follow my boy Dev. Follow him on IG. Follow him on TikTok, YouTube. Does a lot of great stuff, man. Appreciate you for having on, man. We're gonna do another episode next Friday. Hopefully, we're gonna see some more NFL preseason games. Of course, we're gonna probably talk about Hard Knocks with Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets and other NFL NBA news. But anyway, folks, it's your boy Sports PSP. I'm signing off. Enjoy the rest of your evening and peace.
Sir.